All right, Gamecock fans, what do we want to talk about today? I can tell you the first thing Rooster wants to talk about. There's a rumor going around about Dylan Stewart and hitting the transfer portal. Also, the conversations about Dylan Stewart not performing last week kind of slowed down on some plays. Looked like he was loafing a little bit. A lot of people complaining about this thing, but I want to tell y'all, stop it. Stop it. Dylan Stewart gets sometimes double teamed and chipped. He's double teamed by two guys that are 300 plus pounds. Now think about that when you do you guys think y'all could go out and wrestle with two 300 plus pound guys for, just say the defense has been on the field more than the offense. So about averaging probably 35 minutes a game. Dylan Stewart don't take many snaps off. He's on the field the vast majority of the time. Now I'm going to talk to you from someone that took jiu-jitsu, and I don't know if you guys ever done any type of like college wrestling, high school wrestling, or jiu-jitsu, any type of wrestling in your life. But I can tell you, just tumbling with one person for 3-minute rounds will wear your ass out. So imagine if you're wrestling with two 300 plus pound guys. Even say you're 270, you're Dylan Stewart size. You're still wrestling over 600 pounds of beef. Almost every play, you're getting held, you're getting tackled, people are landing on you. I mean, y'all need to stop. That kid's tired in the fourth quarter because he's 100% effort every time. Now, the transfer portal room is kind of ridiculous because Dylan Stewart, behind Lenore Sellers, is probably the second highest NIL guy on our football team. And if someone is to come offer him money, now if it's competitive and Stewart just wants to leave because he don't think the team's that good, well, the team wasn't that good when he decided to commit to South Carolina. He came to help make the team better. So I think we need to hush all this bullshit ass noise. One person says something and then it becomes a rumor, and then all of a sudden by the time the rumor starts in one part, it's that old let me whisper in your ear. And then once it goes around a room of about 10 people, the story is totally changed from the first time you told somebody something. Everybody's added in their own little part to it. And people that think he's going to hit the transfer portal because he went to walk off the field. The kid's a competitor. He hates to lose. So he went to walk off the field. Maybe he does have attitude. Maybe he has a right to have an attitude. If he seems and he thinks he's the one that's out there giving 100% every time, and he looks over at our offense and they're not really doing nothing, the offensive line, I mean, if you're at work and you're looking at everybody else you work with and you feel like you're doing the vast majority of work while they're sitting over there at the water cooler or drinking a Pepsi Cola and eating a pack of crackers, aren't you going to get mad? Yeah, you're going to get mad. Because you want to get the work done. You want to go home, right? Especially if they're, it's just, I don't know. I think we need to stop all that stuff. I'm not going to fault Dylan Stewart. There's been times I've had bad attitudes over certain things that I felt like I was doing most of the work. I've always been a neat, clean person, and I worked in places where other people weren't quite that. So you feel like you're cleaning up after a bunch of kids at times, and man, it gets aggravating. And maybe Dylan Stewart feels like he's cleaning up after a bunch of kids because he's your body is only designed to take so much for so long before you get tired, and then everybody else needs to do their job. And everybody's running away from him, so he's chasing constantly. Once he even gets free from the 600 pounds of beef that he's wrestling with, he's chasing running backs. He's chasing wide receiver sweeps and stuff like that. You get tired, man. You get tired. And I don't blame the kid. He's tired. And he's frustrated. They're not calling the holding calls. They're not, he's not getting any calls. He's frustrated and he's angry. Hey, let it go. He's a young kid. People forget that he's just a sophomore, a true sophomore. So, cut the kid a break, leave him alone for your anger roost. Because I could call out a lot more players on this football team than saying anything negative about Dylan Stewart. And for the folks, let's talk about Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator. All I hear from people and all they constantly talk about when they talk about offensive coordinator is this play calling. Well, Mike Shula didn't call that bad a game Saturday night. Dude, it ain't about being an offensive coordinator. You get the whole picture. It ain't just about your play calling. It's your scheme. It's you set up the blocking assignments for these plays. It's the design of the play. You can have Sean Elliott, a run game coordinator. You can have offensive line coach. You can have running back coaches. They have to make what they have work in the design of the play from the offensive coordinator. So it's not just, I don't think people are just angry about Mike Shula's play calling, which comes into question sometimes. You can't live by explosive plays either. So you got to scheme up to get guys out of the box, to get pressure off of Lenore Sellers, to open up lanes. And everybody says, well, you got to block open lanes. Yeah, maybe the blocking scheme is too complicated. Maybe it's the call itself that is confusing the kids on who to block, when to block. We saw running backs, tight ends. I even seen guards pulling and not touch anyone. Or the block was a terrible block. It's not just the O-line that's not blocking well. It's the whole damn team. It's the offense itself. Has to do better at blocking, whether that's interior, whether that's on the perimeter. You got to block. It's your job to block. If you can't block, we heard this before, if you can't block as a running back, you don't get on the field. That's why some of the running backs who's very talented runners are sitting on benches because they can't hold up and protect and block. Now, the other night, we had two running backs in at the same time, Matthew Fuller and Oscar Attaway. That kind of worked a little bit. That was a kind of little cool little scheme that I hadn't really seen where we had the two running backs in. Now, we saw Maurice Brown in with the running back, kind of giving you that fullback look. But we had the two running backs in. Oscar made a nice little play, and then Matthew Fuller made a nice little run. I don't think it's something you could do all the time because defenses are going to catch on to it. But it was a nice little wrinkle that was thrown in by Mike Shula. But overall, the scheme of our offense to me is not great. When I say I have issues with the offense coordinator, it ain't just his play calling on the field. Now, yeah, go 4th and 1 from the shotgun with Luke Doty against Vanderbilt, and it gets blown up in the middle, questionable. The pass call from the 2-yard line where Lenore's got sacked last week and lost like 13, 15 yards. Those are the kind of plays that are very frustrating. Did he call an overall bad game? I don't know. If we go back and look at the explosive plays that Sellers threw the ball, that's where the vast majority of yards came from. Outside of that, did we really do anything? We didn't run the ball. We know that. That was a -9 yards. A lot of sacks. You got to scheme. If you know you have an offensive line, and we talked about this before, you have to scheme guys out of the box. So how do you scheme it? Quick slants, quick hitters, get to the middle of the field, which backs those linebackers up if you're hitting passes over the middle. Yeah, I know we tried that for a touchdown against Vanderbilt, and it didn't work real well. But you got to be able to get something in the middle of the field that holds those linebackers from rushing your quarterback. If they're occupied trying to, guard against your tight end, if they're having to stay back because you got crossing routes and routes coming across the middle, if they're trying to hang back to help protect against short passing game, they can't be rushing your quarterback. And Beamer said in his, they were dropping 8, rushing 3, kind of protecting against, putting spies on. This is kind of some stuff we've heard. Spies on Sellers to keep him from going. Kind of almost what Illinois did against us. Well, that's where you had to have the ability to run. Because if you're picking them apart for 4 or 5 yards at a time, they're going to stop doing that. They're going to have to come to the box. So, yeah, then you got to run the football. So, it's some of the play design and schemes when I say I have an issue with Mike Shula as an offensive coordinator. It's not just the Saturday play calling. Because that's not all the part of being an offensive coordinator. Guys have to be where you want them to be because of the design of your play, your blockers, whether it's a running back, a tight end, whether it's a pulling guard. Those guys have to be where you want it to be because it's your play design. We look at things so superficial sometimes. People get on here and they talk and they talk and talk, and you're just looking at the surface. You're just looking at the icing on the cake. You're not looking at the layers underneath that icing. The layers are cooked first. That's the design plays. You get what I'm saying? That's the scheme that you're running. The icing is just Saturday play calls. And you got to know what defenses are going to do. Lenore Sellers said the defense knows what we're doing. Then we have tendencies. We got an issue with tendencies. The defense know what we're going. Or we're not switching up and designing new plays that work. You're not going to live and die with those explosive plays all the time. A lot of those were great catches by a wide receiver and great throws by a quarterback, but they're not high percentage throws. You can't live like that. So if you can't run the ball, how do you get those yards? Shorter passes, wide receiver screens, tight end screens, running back screens, anything that is an extension of your running game. Short yardage stuff, get the hands in your playmakers, let them make a play. We're not able to accomplish any of that right now because there's so many people in the box. So instead of running the NFL bunch formations and have all your wide receivers right at the end of your offensive line, spread them out. That's why LSU, when I watched them against Clemson, they were running that wide receiver screen, but they were off away from the offensive line, and they ran it play after play after play until Clemson figured out, hey, we might want to try to stop this. And that's what you got to figure these things out, and you got to scheme better, and you got to plan better, and that's where I have an issue with what we're doing on offense. Also, it's not in everything else. They said Judge Collier will be back. That'll be great for our DB room this week against Kentucky. We're going to break down Kentucky tomorrow. We'll do a video on the Kentucky game, but while we're speaking of Kentucky, one of our permanent opponents, I guess it comes out. I got what I wanted. This is what I told y'all I wanted for my 3, was Georgia, Florida, Kentucky. No more Mizzou. Aren't we all happy about that? No more Mizzou as a permanent opponent. At least for 4 years, no Mizzou. No Texas A&M. No more paperweight trophy games. Done with the paperweight trophy games right now that nobody really even knows anything about the damn trophy. The Mayor Cup to me sounds like, I don't know, some political golf tournament or something. Or a horse race. Mayor's Cup might be a horse race. It just doesn't sound like a football trophy. I don't know. Maybe we should get a big golden sledgehammer or something. But do away with that. We get Kentucky. We get Georgia. We get Florida. I live in Florida. That's good for me. South Carolina can come to Florida. Rooster can go to the swamp and watch my Gamecocks play. And we've had fairly decent. Last time we beat Georgia, of course, was in Athens in 2019. Had a pretty good. The last time we played them, had a good first half a game against them, and then not so good after that. They opened up that can of whoop ass. Florida's been kind of back and forth. Beamer's first year, we beat Florida. Jason Brown running around, throwing passes. Last time we played them, I'm pretty sure it's the last time we played them, we decided to put DQ Smith on their best wide receiver and got cooked. Had a 10-point lead with about, 7.5 minutes left in that game. I don't even know if it was that much time left on the clock, and ended up losing it. Just gave it away. But I like those 3. It's back to, these were great games and great teams that we played against in the SEC East, and we grew and knew all of them. I'm sure it pisses Uncle Lou off because he didn't think South Carolina and Georgia would be a pick because he hates South Carolina, but I don't care. But anyway, if we piss him off, we do right. We're doing the right things to piss him off. I don't give a shit. What's the old saying? Better be pissed off than pissed on. But I like the 3, and that was the 3 I chose back when all this stuff was discussed. I just didn't think we'd get that. I thought we'd get shafted with a Mizzou game or shafted with a Texas A&M game. And we even talked about it in the video last week. This is more travel friendly for South Carolina fans. Way more travel friendly. People love to go up to Kentucky. Beautiful area up there. I've been through Kentucky a million times in my life. Beautiful. You get to come to Florida. I know it's hot. Depending on when they schedule that game, it's not too bad down here right now. You come down here, it's in the 80s. Yeah, we're getting some rain, but not horrible if you're coming down here in October, early November, as long as they don't give you the August game. Honestly, but it's not too bad. It's really not. It's not any worse than being in South Carolina when it comes to the heat. And then Georgia, quick trip over to Athens from Columbia, South Carolina. Damn near throw a rock over there and hit a dog, right? Throw a rock and hit a dog. But anyway, yeah, I like the 3. We'll talk about it later on. I guess the SEC's going to do some type of show on the SEC network or something to make the announcement. They let it leak out. I'm sure they're pissed off. Beamer talked about it a little bit today, that was some teams they had discussed a few years ago when all this was pod thing and when Texas and Oklahoma was coming in, how they're going to break it up, divide it up. Would it be divisions again? However they did it, it's still, you can basically call this a pod without calling it a pod. It's just, I don't know. And they're talking about rotating it in 4 years. Then maybe we do switch out and get Tennessee and Vanderbilt, Alabama, somebody like that, Auburn. It's within another regional travel distance, but I don't know. I don't care if they just leave it like it is in 4 years, but we know these conferences are probably going to make changes. There's probably going to be teams added, conferences go away. ACC's now doing the same thing, 9 games. I wonder if they're including Notre Dame in their 9 games. I'm sure they probably, I don't know. How does the ACC handle that? Because they got an oddball team. So I don't know. They'll figure it out. Everybody's got to do a Power 4. Of course, South Carolina's will always be Clemson. Kentucky's is Louisville. Georgia's Georgia Tech. Florida got Florida State. So I kind of figured that's why they would end up putting us together, because those teams all have a non-con rival. And it just kind of makes sense. Those are locked in. Everybody else has now got to go out and find someone to play. How does this end up for South Carolina next year with the Miami game on deck? Does South Carolina go ahead and play 9 conference games? Plus you got Clemson, that's your 10th. And then you add in Miami, that's 11. So that gives you 1 non-con game against a non-power Power 4 opponent. Does that game stand? Does Miami want to change it too? We'll see how that goes in the future. You can start looking for some of these games to either disappear now that we're on the schedule. I don't see a lot of these teams wanting to play 11 Power 4 games. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Love you all. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Share the channel out. Let everybody know Roosters over here. We're going to break down a little Kentucky tomorrow. And don't forget, it was Wipe It Wednesday, so we're wiping away what happened at Missouri. We're giving South Carolina another chance to get out and prove themselves at home this weekend. Night game against Kentucky. Will we be mad come Saturday night? Will we be angry again? Or can we kind of look at this team and say, okay, maybe we're now putting it together and feel a little better about what we got. Brighten the future a little bit. But if you lose to Kentucky, man, it's going to be a really, really, really bad season. Anyway, like I said, love all you guys. Peace. Thank you for listening, liking, subscribing to the channel, sharing the channel out. We always appreciate it. Talk at you later. Peace.